Hello, good evening. You're watching News 360 from the News Hub. I am Portia Gabo.
Hi, Mr. Morning. We have the headlines for tonight coming up in a moment.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by...
And tonight's swift intervention by military and police deployment averts a Danda shooting incident at Alavanyo.
And also coming up, educationist, researcher and development expert Professor David Miller asks government to stop dumping chemical fertilizers on farmers and encourage the use of organic fertilizers.
Also coming up, could there be life after death for the plastic waste in Ghana? We will be finding out more tonight.
In business, CSIR liaises with governments to identify agricultural commodities that can be adopted under the One District, One Factory initiative.
On the foreign front, South Africa Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa admits having an extramarital affair.
We first begin from the northern region, where an educationist, researcher and development expert, Professor David Miller, is asking government to stop dumping chemical fertilizers on farmers and encourage the use of organic fertilizers. Professor Miller wants government to consider putting up organic fertilizer production factories under its One District, One Factory policy. He spoke to Eva Atibuka in the northern region.
Over the years, farmers have constantly complained of poor harvest. They blame this on soil infertility. Extension officers to introduce them to farming methods that fix nitrogen and other minerals into the soil are in short supply. Farmers now resort to chemical fertilizers. This researcher and commercial farmer, Professor David Miller, says is suicidal.
You have done a big disservice to the area, especially to the north.
Why?
Our soils are fragile, and when you have fragile soils, you don't send chemical fertilizer or inorganic fertilizer. You send organic fertilizer that will regenerate the soil. Inorganic is for the crop. The crop will take more, the soils will get weaker, your yields will be less, and they'll need more fertilizer.
He touched on government's fertilizer subsidy to farmers.
There are articulated loads of fertilizer that have come into the region, and they are placating that. We have flooded the place with fertilizer. You flooded the place with poison.
He says government must initiate the production of organic fertilizer under its One District, One Factory policy.
Let's invest the same amount of energy in organic fertilizer. The leaves of granules after harvesting, or beans, or legumes, or even any organic material, through charring, you can produce organic fertilizer.
In our news tonight, agricultural lands in Ghana are under the threat of what scientists term as iron pan formations, with about 48% of the country's total land area characterized by the phenomenon. These formations have negative effect on food production as the subsoil prevents water penetration to roots of trees and crops. Benjamin Edo reports.
The iron pan formation exposes the land surface to erosion by rainwater, making large areas bare and vulnerable. Scientists at the Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research are seeking the support of the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation to fight this canker. The director of the institute, Dr. Joseph Feng, explained the challenge to Deputy Agric Minister Patricia Appiagyei when she inspected facilities and research works at the CSIR.
Our soil is such that the top to the down is shallow. So when you leave it bare, there's this reaction with what we call iron oxides, with rainfall, sunshine, and then it hardens. So if we don't manage our lands well and then we don't cover, we degrade, then most of our lands will get into that state. As of now, we have more than 48% of our lands in that state.
The minister said government is committed to supporting the scientists to provide solutions to help drive productivity.
President has promised that the first year, the budget, we couldn't just go through it thoroughly the way we wanted to do it. But second year, He's promised us that gradually he's going to improve on research funding from 0.38 to 1% of GDP. And I'm sure that will help a lot. But we don't have to really sit down and wait for that money to come before.
Let's now go to the Ashanti region, where farmers from 5 communities in the Asiedu-Dartey municipality are lamenting over the takeover of their cocoa farms by the paramount chief of the Asiedu traditional area. Well, they say the action of the chief could affect their livelihood and government efforts to increase cocoa production to 1 million metric tons by the end of 2017.
Abenase, Ampame, Edwinase, Onwin, and Asapon are all cocoa growing communities in the Ashanti region. These 5 communities contribute immensely to the production of cocoa in the country. Residents here cultivate about 5,000 acres of cocoa every year. But the cocoa farms and other cash crops are under threat following the decision by the paramount chief of Asiedu, Nana Afrani Okese, to sell the farmlands to private developers and also offer part to the Free Zones Board. Some pillars have already been erected on some of the farmlands.
The government's programs must be supported by everyone, including the chiefs. They should not think about what they will have in their pockets.
The farmers allege the chief has sold off their farmlands without consultation. They embarked on a demonstration to register their displeasure and called on their Sandihine and President Akufo-Addo to intervene.
I think the people over here will react, and I don't think what will happen. They will take a very quick, drastic action, which will be very, very, very difficult to handle.
Janet Sewa Bekon, also a cocoa farmer, has pleaded with the government to intervene quickly to prevent any unlawful acts by the youth.
The chief has not taken over anybody's land. The land belongs to the chief, and they have been compensated with an amount of 200,000 cedis.
Reacting on behalf of the paramount chief of Asiedu, Ochairman Nana Kojo Ampofo refuted all the claims of the farmers. He says the farmlands were given to the Free Zones Board by the chief of Asiedu in 2005, and the farmers were compensated accordingly. It is anticipated that the destruction of these large tracts of cocoa farms will affect the production of cocoa in the region and also lead to loss of livelihoods.
And now a swift intervention by the military and the police deployment in Alavanyo, in Konya Alavanyo, has prevented what would have been another Alavanyo KWEKU shooting incident. Now, the Sunday afternoon attack reportedly began from the mountain between Inkonya-Tanyi and Alavanyo KWEKU, popularly referred to as Toji.
I'll record.
The renewed conflicts began after at least 2 months of peace in and around Inkonya Alavanyo traditional area following the shooting of a young lady at a farm near Inkonya Asachiri on Monday, August 14th. The incident occurred at the time the paramount chief of Alavanyo, Togbega J. Atakra VII, was visiting Inkonya Rapong in what many viewed as a major step towards lasting peace in the area. 2 weeks later, on Sunday, August 27, some unidentified gunmen reportedly opened fire on Alavanyo Agome, during which the Odikro of the town was hit in the back. Exactly a week later, on Sunday around the same time, unknown gunmen opened fire again on Alavanyo KWEKU without any provocation. The attack began from the mountain between Alavanyo KWEKU and Inkonya-Tanyi. However, the police and the military deployment countered the attack and managed to keep the gunmen at bay. The Panjo Divisional Police Commander, Superintendent Prosper Ahlija, confirmed the incident on phone to TV3. He says the police have begun investigations into the shooting and appealed for support from the people in tracking the gunmen. It will be recalled that the renewed clashes in the area resulted in the death of 6 people in April and May this year. Calm was restored after an intervention from the State Security, the Regional Security Council, and the Volta Regional House of Chief.
You're watching News 360, and on the situation in Alavagno, we'll be speaking to 2 people tonight. One is KWEKU ABOTSI, who is an eyewitness, and then later we talk to Adam BONAA, who is a security expert also about the Alavagno situation. So KWEKU ABOTSI is an eyewitness, and he is still in Alavagno. He is on the line now to update us on what is happening. Good evening, and thank you for making time for us, KWEKU.
Yeah, good evening. And
right. Can you tell us how long the shooting lasted?
Yeah, first of all, I want to make a correction. A gunman from Nkunya, not a known gunman. A gunman from Nkunya.
Okay.
So they came and do the thing. So around 12:30, people from Nkunya came and attacked Alavagno Pemi. So they were shooting over 30 to 45 minutes. They were on the mountain. Some of them descend to some forest, shooting in the town about 30 to 45 minutes this afternoon.
Hello, KWEKU, if you can hear me, you are alleging that they are from Nkunya. How sure are you? What shows that they are from Nkunya?
The whole world knows that there is a clashing between Alavagno and Nkunya. So, always, if there is something at the other side, they will say people from Alavagno came and do this, people from Alavagno came and do this. These people, we know very well that they are from Nkunya, who came and did this thing, not unknown gunmen. Even this evening, around 6:20 to 6:35, they were still doing it. Then you can consult the military people over there. This 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. to 6:40 p.m. They were still firing.
All right, KWEKU, so what has been the community's reaction so far?
Come again, sir.
How has the community reacted to this current shooting incident?
Okay. For now, I may say this is not the first or the second time. So they have been doing it. They used to do it all the time. So I may say we are used to it. So we don't care and we don't mind them. We just complain to the military people.
You mean the people are not worried about the shooting incident?
No, we will be worried. But what can we do? We can't even leave, leave the town. The town is for us. We can't leave the town. So people will be worried. But there is nothing we can do.
So did you see any security people around?
Yes, please. The police and the soldiers are around.
And are they aware of the situation?
Yes, of course. They are aware.
How do you know? Did you report to them, or you just suspect they could be aware of the situation? No.
I mean, not aware of what is happening, but they are also trying their best. They are there. So as they started firing, they are also replying.
Thank you very much, KWEKU ABOTSI. He is an eyewitness in Alavagno, and he was telling us about the recent shooting incident there. Adam BONAA is a security and safety expert, as I announced his availability earlier on. He is on Skype right now, and he'll be speaking to us about the situation. Adam, I can see you. Good evening. How are you? Hello, Adam.
Hello?
Well, yeah. Hello, Adam.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Adam. I can hear you now.
What I'm saying is good evening to your cherished viewers, and hoping that, there will be some calm within the Alavagno and Nkunya community tonight whilst we go to bed, so that tomorrow morning we won't wake up with casualties and fatalities here and there. Yeah.
Right, but before we get to tomorrow morning, You know, this situation is refusing to go away. The shooting and counter-shooting between Alavanyo and Nkonya citizens. How, in your estimation, do you think we can address this situation?
I think, yes, first of all, this conflict has been raging for several years, close to 100 years. It started before many conflicts in the world. Kosovo, Northern Ireland, mention them, you know, Bosnia, and most of these conflicts, even before Liberia and, you know, Sierra Leone, most of them have been resolved. What we should have done by now should have been to have deployed what I call some intelligence, you know, unit. We should have by now, maybe the last how many years, the last 2 decades, since Ghana, you know, became the fourth Republican Constitution came into being, we should have deployed what I call the intelligence unit, where you have intelligence service officers who, you know, live within the two communities, within the Alavanyo community and also within the Nkonya community. But I know we haven't been able to do that. And also, I know some time ago, a buffer zone was created so that you don't have this community crossing into this community. And so it even created a situation where those who were farming couldn't, you know, you couldn't farm on a certain stretch of land. And so you just don't create a buffer zone. You create a buffer zone by putting in place measures such as, I know recently the Minister of Defense and the Minister of the Volta Regional Minister and our security couples are talking about having a military camp, you know, in between the two. That is going to be a solution, a permanent solution to the situation. But before that, we need to, for instance, they said these people were shooting from the mountains. And this mountains definitely is a hilly area, it has forests, and it's a vast land. I would want to suggest, I would want to employ what you call it, you know, the security agencies, probably the Minister of the Interior, Defense and the rest. Let's put in what I call the thermal cameras. If we put in a couple of thermal cameras, we should be able to arrest or we should be able to pick up some of these perpetrators who, for a very long time now, every now and then there is one trouble emanating from this area, which I think is not very good. Also, we need to have a good number of what I call security officers deployed into the area before this permanent creation of the camp within separating the two communities. But until then, we are going to have counter, you know, fighting, where you have one community rising up against the other, and the next day, if you listen to the eyewitness, from the way he spoke means that he is on the other side of the community, or, you know, of the community, and therefore it becomes very difficult for anyone. And I would, those
right,
who are
so,
listening and
let me put
sure
my final question to you, if you can hear me. Adam BONAA, if you can hear me. There is fresh evidence that the people of Alavanyo and Nkonya may be aware of those behind the shootings. And if that is the case, would your suggestion of intelligent officers, whether Alavanyo or Nkonya citizens, be appropriate to solve the problem, to monitor and be able to reduce this recurrent shooting incidents?
Definitely yes. Because from the way your eyewitness gave his account, they know. He was very specific. He said they know those who are doing it. They know. It means that if our intelligence officers should descend in these communities, they should be able to arrest them and probably send them to court and get prosecuted, so that it will be a lesson to anyone who wants to take up arms in any of these communities.
Thank you very much, Adam BONAA.
Yeah.
And Adam BONAA is a security and safety expert, and he was sharing with us his opinion on how to resolve the never-ending Alavanyo-Nkonya conflict.
Go to the Western region, where residents of Medjina, a deprived community in the Jamawa district, say maternal mortality in the area is rife due to lack of a health facility. Stanley Nibleu, who was in the community, also reports majority of pupils in the community are not in school because their parents cannot afford the 1 cedi tuition fee.
Goal 3, 4, and 6 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals promote access to quality education, health, and potable water for all by 2030. But for a typical village such as Mejina in the Jomoro district, development is a luxury. No vehicle comes to this part of the district because the community, which has a population of about 400, is yet to have an access road. Interestingly, this community was established over a century ago. One can only access the community by a voyage on the Amazulu River from Benin 4 miles away, but this is not done with ease. Our curiosity to know more about Mejina compelled the team to cover a longer distance of trekking through the forest.
After trekking about 30 minutes, we are finally at Mejina community, one of the remotest places in the Jomoro district of the Western region. Residents here have no access to any form of social amenity, talking about water, electricity, and school. When one falls sick, the person has to trek more than 4 miles to access a nearby health facility at Benin.
It takes courage to live in this part of the country. The residents depend on subsistence farming for their livelihood, but they say lack of access to a healthcare facility has led to a high mortality rate of pregnant women. 67-year-old Joseph Mochia has lived in Mejina all his life and shares some of his experiences.
In emergency situations, we carry the sick on a makeshift structure to Benin. Most of them die before reaching the nearest health facility.
This facility, recently renovated, serves as a classroom block for pupils in kindergarten 1 and 2 and lower primary 1 and 2. Only one teacher handles all 4 classes, but the school has not been functioning for more than a year. This is because parents cannot afford the 1 cedi tuition fee.
I had to get chalk and some books. It was very difficult. I was teaching, nothing was coming. So I have to just break up to see if something will push the parents to do something, but they also relaxed and I have to also stop it.
The community is yet to enjoy a clean water source and electricity. They tell us when this well they depend on dries up in the Harmattan season, they resort to the use of water from the Amazulu River, which tourists abhor.
The responsibility now lies with government to intervene to save lives and to also promote the socio-economic well-being of the people of Mejina. From Mejina in the Western region, this is Stanley Niblewu reporting for TV3.
You're on News 360 tonight. Still to come. Could there be life after death for the plastic waste in Ghana? We will bring you more on that after the break.
And CSIR liaises with government to identify agricultural commodities that can be adopted under the One District, One Factory initiative.
And we'll also go to South Africa, where Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa admits he's having an extramarital affair.
Details coming up shortly. Do stay with us. In more news tonight, the Crop Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is liaising with government to identify some agricultural commodities that can be adopted under the One District, One Factory initiative. The institute is also participating in government's Planting for Food and Jobs program to support the commercialization and dissemination of agricultural research products.
The Crops Research Institute has released new varieties of rice and sweet potato to support the Planting for Food and Jobs program. The researchers also supply seed growers with varieties of maize, soybean and pepper to be able to produce and supply farmers with certified seeds. Director of the Crops Research Institute, Dr. Stella Enin, believes crops like sweet potato and cannon bean have the potential to increase incomes of farmers whilst addressing the national and hidden hunger issues in Ghana. Director of the Crops Research Institute, Dr. Stella Enin, believes crops like sweet potato and cannon bean have the potential to increase incomes of farmers whilst addressing the national and hidden hunger issues in Ghana. She also says there are potentials in cassava for the One District, One Factory initiative.
With the One District, One Factory, we have a number of commodities that fit within this, and we have started working with the government. One of the crops that is tops is cassava starch production, and we have varieties that have high starch content of about 34% and also resistant to the major diseases of cassava, which we are working with the government to make available for the One District, One Factory.
Breeders at the CRI have released 6 new varieties of lowland rice, which are very high yielding and tolerant to diseases and other environmental stress. In addition to the 14 varieties of domestic rice developed by the research institutions, farmers should be producing for national rice self-sufficiency. But the country's rice import bill keeps rising, currently hovering close to $600 million per annum. The researchers are hoping for a shift in the taste because the new domestic rice varieties are within the consumer-preferred perfume class. Rice breeder Dr. Maswell Asante said a sustained interest of government to support agricultural production will help reverse rice importation within the next 5 to 10 years.
With time, I think if government continues doing what he's doing, and then we also do our part, we'll see a major change, and then we'll start bringing down imports and eventually become self-sufficient in rice production.
And port authorities say they have begun receiving online requests from freight forwarders and clearing agents 3 days into the implementation of the paperless transaction at the port. The authority says the program took off on September 1 without any hitches.
A team of port officials, including the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Paul Asari Ansah, the Tema Port Director, Edward Osei, toured various centres to ascertain the progress work. Because September 1 was a holiday, the port authorities indicated that the port delivery unit, which required clearance transactions, did not work, but the other sites were operational. On Friday, 2 people made requests online and were duly served according to the Port Authority's operational team. But on Saturday, September 2, as expected on weekends, the revenue center was a bit slow, though pockets of clearing agents came to the GPHA Revenue Center to make enquiries about how to make their requests online. The General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs, Esther Jebidonko, says a customer service center would be built to assist clearing agents to use the online systems. The paperless port reforms requires importers and agents to present genuine and legitimate supporting documents before the arrival of the vessel, in line with the existing pre-arrival assessment port process. All unauthorized freight forwarders and agents are also being urged to register with recognized agencies in order to have full benefits of the automated clearing processes at the port.
The Ghana Education Service has extended the placement of this year's computerized selection placement system. About 150,770 qualified BEC candidates have still not been placed and have 2 extra days to complete their placement into senior high schools. According to the Ghana Education Service, the extension has become necessary because some qualified BECE candidates have still not been placed 24 hours after the initial deadline expired. BECE candidates now have up to Tuesday, September 5, 2017 to complete their placements.
Now, the police administration has promoted number 49195 General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu posthumously to the rank of General Lance Corporal effective July 13, 2017. The deceased General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu, also known as Teacher, met his untimely death on July 13 this year on routine community policing duty at Abekala Pass.
General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu, alias Teacher, was enlisted into the Ghana Police Service on October 16, 2012. After vigorous training, he passed out from the Winneba Police Training School on March 8, 2013, and was posted to the Community Policing Unit, where he has been serving until his untimely death on July 13 this year. General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu was exposed to many challenges of practical policing duties. Available records indicated that the deceased was hardworking and proved equal to all the tasks assigned him. General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu was on routine patrol duty Thursday, July 13 this year, when he was shot by some unknown gunmen at Abekala Pass and was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu left behind a legacy of hard work, dedication and commitment to duty. The police administration, his wife, children, parents and friends paid tribute to the fallen police officer. General Lance Corporal Daniel Owusu is survived by a wife and 6 children.
And now the Uber transport company says it is ready to engage taxi drivers on their application and activities in the transport service delivery to meet customer needs. Country lead for Uber, Kofi Ejari, says the company is still in talks with government on issues of regulation for the operations of Uber drivers in Ghana. We'll bring you the details of that story in subsequent news bulletins.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub, and majority of sachet water bags and ice cream plastics end up at landfill sites without being recycled. But could there be life after death for these plastics? Well, in the following report, we tell the story of how bags can be made from plastic trash. And Issa, could there be cash from trash?
Absolutely. I mean, we've heard reports about that in other parts of the world. So I believe the technology is what we need here to turn garbage into cash. In other countries, you know, they are able to separate plastic, paper, and you know, they are able to sell to the companies that can process them. Some of them use them for energy generation. Others are recycled for other products that we can use. I'm sure as soon as we're able to get the technology ready, people, I will make money. I don't know about you out of that, definitely.
I also want to make money out of this. So send us your comments that's on Facebook or twitter.com/newsontv3.
The landfill sites and shorelines of most beaches in Ghana seem to be the final resting place of plastic waste. Every day, scavengers and waste pickers like Jerry rummage through tons of waste at the landfill sites in search of discarded plastics.
After sorting the plastic from the waste, we have those who came close to us and they buy it from us.
But plastic waste does not have to end up at the landfill sites. They can be developed into innovative products. Trashy Bags, an eco-friendly business, has found a way to prove that there is life after death for plastic waste. When sachet water bags, ice cream wrappers and materials from billboard advertisements are taken off the streets of Accra, they are dumped here for a fee. Approximately 180,000 sachets are collected and processed every month. Before the sachets can be sewn together to form the final product, they must be sorted out, cut open, thoroughly washed, dried and straightened. Once the sachet sheets are prepared, templates are used to draw the shapes for future products and the basic outlines are cut out. Sheets prepared in this way are then handed to the workers who sew them together according to a predefined procedure.
Plastics are not meant to be discarded. They are meant to be used over and over again. So next time you take that sachet water, you may not want to throw it away because you may get a bag out of trash.
Plastic waste in the country is becoming an alarming problem, and we're all aware about that. The repercussions are very huge. As well, we know that it's a very useful packaging material. So what we've done for close to a decade now is identifying the problems, at the same time also finding practical solutions.
The smart bags, all made from water sachets and local fabric, can hold up to 18 kilograms. With Kenya joining countries such as China and Rwanda in banning plastic bags, will it be the solution to the plastic waste menace in Ghana? Project Director at Trashy Bags says Ghana should rather invest in recycling plastic waste.
Banning plastic completely is one of the solutions, but if you consider all the different support that we had with this kind of material in terms of packaging, I think that we have to intensify recycling, support industries that are into recycling, and then the awareness creation is also very important, because we've realized that it's not just people not wanting to recycle, but it's also because people don't understand this kind of material that can take thousands and thousands of years to biodegrade.
By making useful and attractive bags and other products directly from the sachets, Trashy Bags have demonstrated that plastic waste can still be useful long after it has outlived its original purpose.
Apart from getting a bag from trash, remember there is cash in trash as well. The Ghanaian Municipal Assembly says it will decommission the ABOTSI landfill site due to the health hazards it poses to scavengers and residents. Scavengers risk contracting diseases because they wear no protective gears.
The ABOTSI landfill site is Accra's largest waste disposal site, commissioned some 19 years ago. 1,000 tons of garbage generated and collected by waste management organizations in the capital end up here. More than 60 trucks and tricycles come to dump refuse daily. Although the place is full and near the commissioning stage, constant emission of carbon dioxide as a result burning of heaped garbage has created discomfort for settlers nearby. This activity is said to be executed by scavengers. Numbering about 50, the ABOTSI landfill site serves as a safe haven and lucrative business for scavengers. This woman, I call Mary for the purposes of this story, is a mother of 3 and a single parent. Mary can neither read nor write. She said she was compelled to take up this job to enable her cater for her children's education. Mary, like other women, compete with men daily over scavenging here. In fact, her family's livelihood depends on this.
I have been in this business since the last 2 years, and it's been good.
A job of this nature takes courageous persons to do. When business is good, a scavenger makes between 50 and 70 cedis daily. This, they say, sustains them. They, however, risk contracting diseases because most of them have no protective gears.
Officials from the Ga East Municipal Assembly have been educating us on the use of safety wears, but some of us are just stubborn.
The Ga East Municipal Assembly, however, claimed the meeting scheduled to register the scavengers onto the National Health Insurance Scheme did not materialize. Chief Environmental Health Technologist at Ga East Municipal Assembly, Derek Tata-Anku, explains why.
They believe it was an attempt at driving them out of the dump. The initial meeting was provide them with a national health insurance. But unfortunately, whatever information got to them, they decided not to be part of it.
He also said the assembly is devising a decommissioning plan of the site.
So when we even finally decide to stop dumping there, we are not even going to leave what is in stock. We have plans of reusing whatever has been heaped over the years and possibly turn the site into a transfer station.
The landfill site, if not decommissioned, will increase residents' risk of contracting diseases.
And you're on News 360. When we return, we time for sports with Thierry Nyan.
All right, so it's time to bring you all the latest in the world of sports with me, Thierry Nyan, right here on News 360. Now, the Black Stars really, since Friday, have been giving some negative energy, to some Ghanaians because of their ill performance at the Baba Yara Stadium against Congo. But the Black Stars are continuing to train and did so this morning at the Accra Sports Stadium ahead of their FIFA World Cup qualifier return fixture against Congo. 23 players trained without Captain Asamoah Gyan, who picked up a knock in their game on Friday. Ghana will leave for Brazzaville on Monday morning ahead of their 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier return leg against Congo. The Black Stars labored and came from a goal down to earn a 1-1 draw with the Red Devils at the Baba Yara Stadium on Friday. The three-time finalists have been left with faint hopes following that result as they remain in third place. Now, with 2 points from 3 matches, Ghana would need more than a miracle, actually, to catch with leaders Uganda, who have 7 points, and second place Egypt with 6 points. The match will be played in the capital of Congo, that is at the stadium Stade de Kintele. Now, still with the 2018 World Cup qualifying, Congo's World Cup chances have been giving a huge lift, and they will fancy their chances against the Black Stars with news that skipper Asamoah Gyan will not be part of the travelling contingent for the game on Tuesday. The 31-year-old has been heavily criticised following his performance in the 1-1 draw against Congo. In an interview with TV3 Sports, Gyan admits the latest groin injury is a reflection of the last 24 months he's been going through.
I'm feeling a bit of pain in my groin, and I think I overstretched, so the scan is going to determine whether I can play or not. It's all about being very, very confident, because it's not that easy to replace somebody who has done so much. It's not very, very easy. It's not that easy. But as I said earlier, we've got a lot of young, hungry players coming up. I'm just an experienced player. As you said, for the past 3 years, it has been very, very difficult for me, talking about fitness level and stuff. But I always try to use my experience and everything. It's not. Sometimes somebody might say, "Oh, he's done." Somebody might say, "Oh, Asamoah Gyan is done." But for me, I don't think I'm done. It's just the circumstances. But as you said, there'll be somebody who can replace me. And when I'm on the field, I try to do my job, which is the goal scoring. Sometimes I try to psych the other guys that come and say, "Listen, you don't have to be thinking about what people are gonna say when you do the wrong thing. Just go all out, because when you score today, you are the best player in the world. When you don't score, you are the bad player. So just be yourself and then do everything."
Asamoah Gyan says, do not write him off yet. He's not done with the Black Stars, not done with his personal career. So he's still going to be in there, whether we like it or not. Maybe it's the coach who has the final say. But let's move away from there. Let's go straight to the general perspective of the World Cup qualifiers. You probably may have been hearing the results, but what exactly do they mean? These are the results across these are the fixtures going forward, because remember, Nigeria beat Cameroon by 4-0 in the other game, and that means that Nigeria are topping that particular group. In Group B, they have 9 points, 100% record, and you'd see it tells from the kind of players they do having there. There's a return leg over there in Cameroon. Hugo Bruce and his boys will look to see what they can do with the Super Eagles. But Algeria are really last in that particular group, would you believe it? And they'll be facing off against Zambia. Zambia beat them by 3-1 on Friday. So maybe this is going to be a perfect opportunity for them to, seek revenge. Ivory Coast are also in that particular group with heavy regards Morocco, but Ivory Coast will be taking on Gabon. They beat them by 3-1. Let's see exactly what the return leg would give them. Mali also will be playing against Morocco. Morocco are second in that particular group, so they would also be looking to see if they can beat Mali just so they can stay in contention against, Ivory Coast. But in Group D, there is another fierce encounter between Burkina Faso and Senegal. Now, some of you will be looking at this and asking, why is it fierce? And the reason is Burkina Faso really have been some of the most consistent sides, and of course, in the qualifying stages. They top that particular group that has Senegal in there. It tells you how good they have been faring. And the other side to have knocked out Ghana as well from the local, African Cup of Nations as well. So it tells you a lot about that team. Now in Group E, where Ghana is, we all know the story of that particular group. Congo will be looking to see if they beat Ghana. That means it takes them above the Black Stars into third. But Egypt and Uganda is going to be a two-horse race between the two. That is if Congo and Ghana do falter again. So Egypt's in there this time around. They are going to be playing Alexandria against Uganda. So hopefully they're able to win that particular one as well. Then it means they are definitely going to still be in contention against, Uganda. But this is where the mathematics begins for the Black Stars. Should Egypt, fail to beat Uganda, and if Uganda are not able to beat Egypt and it's a draw, it opens it all up for the Black Stars, who have to beat Congo and win their remaining games. Well, it's too much, isn't it? But let's see exactly how that goes. Let's move away from there. Let's go straight to England, where Wayne Rooney has insisted there will be no going back on his decision to retire from England duty in a bid to at least enjoy a successful World Cup campaign. The former England captain, charged with drink driving on Friday, retired from international football last month, having scored a national record 53 goals in 119 appearances that included 3 World Cups and 3 European Championships. The Everton striker said that the fact that the 2018 World Cup is in Russia was on the horizon would not lead him to change his decision. All right, so that's exactly where we bring an end to the sports bulletin right here on News 360. My name is Thierry Nyan, and thanks for sticking with me. Issa and Portia will be carrying you through.
Time now for some international news, and South Africa's Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa has admitted having an extramarital affair but denied reports of multiple affairs. Speaking after allegations about his private life were published in the newspaper, he accused political opponents of trying to smear him. Mr. Ramaphosa is planning to contest the leadership of the governing African National Congress.
South Africa's Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa has admitted having an extramarital affair but denies reports of multiple affairs. Speaking after allegations about his private life were published in newspapers, he accused political opponents of trying to smear him. Mr. Ramaphosa is planning to contest the leadership of the governing African National Congress. President Jacob Zuma steps down from the post later this year. Mr. Ramaphosa's private emails were apparently hacked into to prove an affair between him and a medical doctor. The emails reportedly suggest he also had a series of affairs with young women and had unprotected sex.
Coming up, entertainment news.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
Contestants of Ghana's Most Beautiful have been rehearsing 24/7 to pull off an unforgettable show tonight. The 10 ladies are taking up the task to relive a day in the life of a typical Ghanaian and the struggles he or she goes through.
It is the second week of the live shows, and the ladies are not leaving any stone unturned to give audience a blend of laughter and education. After taking them on a historical journey of their irrespective regions last week, they are going to give a vivid description of a day in the life of a typical Ghanaian. Portraying different kinds of craft and career, all the 10 contestants will individually act out the stress and challenges the chosen act goes through on a daily basis. At the end of their performance, the aim is to pass on a moral lesson that will sensitize the public to respect every profession or trade, regardless of its status in society. The live show takes off at 8 p.m. at Studio B inside TV3's premises. Ghana's most beautiful, straight out of Ghana.
And that's it for this edition of News 360. My name is Issa Moni.
And I am Portia Gabo. Coming up is Ghana's most beautiful.